is Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sabotaging peace negotiations? Sure seems that way, doesn't it? Kinda does. According to new reports, Netanyahu wants to make sure that Israel is still at war when he addresses U.S. Congress in a few weeks. Now that's funny timing, right? I can't go to Congress if we're at peace because I won't have much to say. So I need to still be at war. So the people who die between now and then, that's not on me because I got a speech to make to the American Congress. That seems pretty selfish. Now, it seems that he wants the Zelensky treatment, go to Congress, be lauded as a hero. I mean, why shouldn't he get that? I don't see much difference between Netanyahu and Zelensky at this moment. We're going to make that comparison in a minute. Last month, though, AOC Democratic superstar Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said she does not support Netanyahu's congressional address. Here was her tweet. She said, "This man should not be addressing Congress. He's a war criminal. And he certainly has no regard for U.S. law, which is explicitly designed to prevent U.S. weapons from facilitating human rights abuse." Girl, that's a lull. I can't believe you would even write that with a straight face, because how many U.S. weapons are currently hurting people in, Clayton, do you want to go down the list?
Sure.
Syria, Yemen, but you go ahead.
Syria, Yemen, Ukraine, Sudan,
Iraq,
Somalia.
What else am I thinking?
Somalia, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Haiti.
but you're going to just write that? You're just going to write that down as if you don't know right now what U.S. weapons are doing. Dummy. She says his invitation should be revoked, should never have been sent in the first place. Here is Elizabeth Warren saying she too will boycott Netanyahu's speech. It's funny, though, that neither of them had any trouble with Zelensky addressing Congress because he too is a war criminal. That's all nuance to me, isn't it? Both men are actively sabotaging peace that would save lives in their country, respectively, in order to further their own career. Do you see a difference? Do you?
No, I don't.
I do not. So Netanyahu will obviously further the case for his war on Gaza and make sure that American money will not stop. Even in the wake of this news, the Gaza pier, which was destroyed after just 21 days. This here on the left is what we built. It cost us $230 million. On the right is the way it stands right now, and currently there are no plans to rebuild it. Now, shouldn't it upset us that our money is being wasted in this way, draining our own economy? It upsets me.
Calvin Johnstone in our chat says, redacted, is Maui all cleaned up now? Exactly. So $270 million to build some pier in Gaza so we can go and help facilitate the stealing of oil and natural gas, right, or money that could have been sent to Maui to help build and rebuild that community.
Or the chemical spill in Pennsylvania. Yes, the Pennsylvania
in Ohio.
Chemical spill. Yeah. Right. Lots of ways we could have used that money, but we did that instead. Now, in May, Congressman Matt Gaetz tried to warn us about this pier, not just about the cost, but the dangers to U.S. soldiers. Nobody cared, but we did. We played this for you, and we're going to play it again.
Ms. Locken just said there'll be about 1,000 U.S. service members operating a pier system off of Gaza. How many of them will have guns, Mr. Secretary?
Well, typically all of the deployed service members carry guns, and they have the ability to protect themselves if challenged.
So if someone from land in Gaza shoots at our service members who are on the $320 million pier that we're building, you're telling me our service members can shoot back?
They have the right to return fire to protect themselves. Now,
well, do we think that's like? So now I want to move to the likelihood that you think someone from land in Gaza might shoot at our service members on this pier. Do you think that that's a likely scenario?
That's possible, yes.
This is a very telling moment, Mr. Secretary, because you've said something that's quite possible that could happen, right? Shots from Gaza on our service members, and then the response, our armed service members shooting live fire into Gaza. That is a possible outcome here so that we can become the Port Authority and run this pier. Right?
That's correct. You know, I expect that we will always have the ability to protect ourselves. Don't you think that counts as boots on
the ground? President Biden told the country that we weren't going to have boots on the ground in Gaza.
And we won't.
Okay, but you guys parse the distinction between Like when Americans think boots on the ground, they think Americans in harm's way or engaged actively in a conflict. You guys seem to be sort of saying that boots on a pier connected to the ground, connected to service members shooting into Gaza, doesn't count as boots on the ground?
It does not.
I think you're going to find that the American people have a different perspective on that. And if we're going to have people shooting into Gaza, we probably should have a vote on that, pursuant to our war powers.
Boots floating off the ground.
WSB4 in our Rumble chat says, boots on a pier. Yeah, boots on a pier.
It's ground adjacent.
Some of those guys were even wearing sandals. I mean, come on, that doesn't count at all.
Right.
Crocs.
Yeah,
they're wearing Crocs.
Now, the safety of those soldiers on that pier is no longer a concern, given the pier was destroyed and there are not plans to rebuild it. So that is a sunk cost, if you know what I mean. You get it?
Yeah, that's great.
A sunk cost. That's an econ joke. I like it. It made me laugh thanks. Okay, but the war will continue. It's not funny. And now Haaretz is reporting that Israel controls at least 26% of Gaza now, which clearly was always their intention going into this war. It's not defense. So here is what they're saying is a springboard to a Jewish settlement. They say. When they say settlement, obviously they mean they're moving Jewish people in. They do not intend to ever give that land back to Palestinians, which have controlled it as recently as October of 2023. Here's what Haaretz reports says. A senior IDF officer discussing this territory under full IDF control in the heart of Gaza called it an effort at prolonged occupation. But the military's activity also provides a tailwind for supporters of the reestablishment of settlements. Now recall, they got the heck out of there in 2005 begrudgingly. Now they're getting back in. Conditions for the emergence of a new reality are being created, an indefinite Israeli presence in Gaza. So reoccupation of Palestinian lands. Is there any other way to see it? Please let me know if I'm missing some kind of optics here. In peace negotiations, Hamas is demanding that Israel leave Gaza, but it is clear that Netanyahu has no intention of doing that or ending military presence in Gaza, and he never did. He said that since he was in his 30s. You can rewind the tape and see him saying this over and over and over again. This is his dream. His grand vision. He will not relinquish this on his watch. There's no denying that. And now the government of Israel will draft Orthodox Jews into the cause, even though Orthodox Judaism is staunchly anti-war. It's basically their reason for existing is peace. The Torah, as they interpret it, forbids war. It forbids killing. It forbids even having an army. I want to suggest to you this video that our colleague Dan Cohen did over on his Uncaptured Media with Rabbi Shapiro, because Clayton and I watched this over the break, and it is a fascinating viewpoint, actually a studied and erudite take on what Judaism is and how it is not at all represented by the government of Israel. And so now Rabbi Shapiro has agreed to come on Redacted in the coming days, and I'm excited about it. So now what we see is Israel calling themselves a Jewish state, but totally disregarding what Orthodox Jews believe, which is no war, no fighting, no peace. How then can we say that this is religious freedom? How can we say that this is representative of a Jewish state? I ask you, what have I missed here? So let me know what you think of this.
Yeah, it's not how can it be a Jewish state? How can it be? The very thing that they are absolutely against is war.
Right.
Violence of any kind, and now you're going to draft them? You're going to make it mandatory?
I think it's worth making this distinction that Hamas wages war on religion as well, and Islam also preaches peace. Right. So both sides are waging a religious war under false pretenses.
Yeah, that's a great point.